Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Logistics, where we have conversations with thought leaders and newsmakers in the supply chain logistics industry. It's my great pleasure to welcome to today's program Andra Gibson, who's Project Manager, Logistics Service Solutions at Carhartt. And she's participating in our latest installment of Profiles in Yard Management Excellence, where we highlight companies that are leading the way in driving continuous improvement and innovation in yard management. So it's great to welcome Andra to the program to kind of share her story and her journey in yard management, and get some insight and advice from her in terms of their case study here. So thank you for joining us, Andra.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Now, I'm sure a lot of folks already know who Carhartt is, but just in case, before we kind of dive into the topic, why don't you tell us a little bit about Carhartt and the company, and a little bit about your current role and responsibilities there.
Sure. So Carhartt was established in 1889 and is a global premium workwear brand with a rich heritage of developing enduring apparel for workers on and off the job. Our headquarters is in Dearborn, Michigan, and we have more than 5,000 associates worldwide. Carhartt is family owned and managed by descendants of the company's founder, Hamilton Carhartt, today. As you mentioned, I'm Carhartt's project manager for Logistics Service Solutions. My team is responsible for providing support to our domestic and international transportation teams, as well as to our customs compliance team. And we also work alongside IT to evaluate, test, and implement system solutions like our transportation management system and our yard management system.
Great. Well, I know, Carhartt's, popular in our family in terms of, the clothing line and all that. So I'm sure many people that are watching today are also familiar with the brand and the products. So to get started, tell us a little bit about, yard management at Carhartt. Particularly before you implement your current solution. What, business challenges or opportunities, led you to seek a solution?
Well, Carhartt currently ships all customer and consumer orders from a single CTPAT compliant facility in Western Kentucky. And we have 2 drop lots adjacent to that facility and a couple of satellite yards that we also use to help balance capacity. And in a facility that operates pretty much around the clock during our peak shipping months, visibility to incoming and outgoing equipment is not only just a critical need, it's a necessity as part of doing business. So not only did we need to be able to access up to the minute information on where trailers were located from the time they pulled through the gate, there was an increasing need to be able to track how long each piece of equipment was actually here, its condition, how many times the trailer was moved, by whom, as well as what was on those outbound loads that were assigned to them, and ultimately when did they leave the premises. So we needed a solution that was more effective than manual yard checks and a paper trail that we utilized up to that point to support the volume of movements that we were actually seeing. And we also needed a better way to track information on the drivers and equipment that was passing through our gates for security purposes as well. So that was really, what we were trying to solve for there.
Yeah, one of the common things that I see with companies, particularly fast growing companies, is that they ultimately get to a point where they're growing so quickly and they're being so successful that things that might have worked back when they were a smaller company, or if growth wasn't that big, whether it's Excel spreadsheets or clipboards, all of a sudden you kind of reach that point where you say, what, if we're going to continue to grow as a company, we've got to work smarter and be able to, more efficiently manage these processes, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, so to achieve your objectives, what were some of the key capabilities you were looking for in a yard management solution then?
At a very high level, we were looking for visibility for our inbound, outbound, the empty equipment, availability and placement, at any point in time. And although we're currently running our yard management system as a standalone system, it was very important to us that the solution that we implemented could be integrated with our transportation management system and our warehouse management system as we move forward. So those were some of the key critical capabilities that we were looking for when we were going through that process.
Right, right. So, obviously visibility is such a key thing. I mean, you mentioned earlier, visibility to, the trailers, visibility to the drivers, obviously a lot of data and information you want to,
Right,
capture there. And then it's the reality that, yard management doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
right.
Ultimately it's part of the transportation process. It's part of the warehousing process and being
Mhm,
able to integrate with, some of the existing solutions you have. So you can have that
mhm,
kind of continuity in the process.
mhm.
Certainly is critical. Um, so tell us a little bit about your evaluation process. I mean, who was involved within there at Carhartt? What factors ultimately led you to select the pink solution?
Well, our project team primarily consisted of logistics and IT. Throughout our RFP process, we evaluated appointment and scheduling functionality, guard check-in and check-out procedures, how the systems accounted for trailer movements for not just our physical yards adjacent to the facility, but for satellite yards as well. Um, but it was really important that the solution be something that could grow with us as our business continued to grow and change as well.
Right.
So from an evaluation standpoint, those were the important aspects from the RFP process that we were looking at. And upon review of Pink's proposal to Carhartt, our project team considered their hosted YMS solution truly best in class in each one of those areas that we were evaluating. And we were particularly impressed with Pink's demonstrated commitment to reinvest in their solutions in an effort to ensure that their solution would meet changing demands of the supply chain industry. And that's something that we consider to continually add value and streamline processes.
Right, because the reality is that today's operating reality is not necessarily, almost certainly not going to be tomorrow's operating reality, right? So you're going to need to continue to innovate and continue to require
Mhm.
new capabilities. Now, who's involved as part of that evaluation process? Did you have people that were actually in the front lines of the yard management process kind of
Mhm.
contribute in terms of one of some of the things that they wanted to see or kind of address their needs on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, our project team actually consisted of about 6 people, so it really was not resource intensive for Carhartt to implement this solution. 2 of those representatives were from IT, 2 from logistics services, myself included in that. And then we did have a couple of other subject matter experts within our logistics department participate in this process as well to make sure that all the business requirements, from a logistics, inbound and outbound transportation perspective, but also from a compliance and security perspective as well.
Right. Now, did you say that this is currently implemented at that one facility? I mean, how did you roll it out? How long did it take to roll out?
Um, Not long at all, actually. Pulling up a standalone SaaS solution for YMS, it took us. We were up and running in about 2 months.
Wow, yeah, that's very quick there. So what
Yes,
kind of, I mean, how long have you been using the solution so far?
it's almost a year now, a little over a year.
Great, great. So you've had some time under your belt now. So what have been some
Yeah.
of the benefits achieved to date, and any unexpected benefits?
Well, as soon as the yard management system was turned on and put to use, we achieved goals regarding improved visibility and increased driver efficiency right out of the gate. And we were capturing more information about the equipment that was coming into us than we were ever doing before using manual logs. The size of the trailer, the condition of the trailer, or if it was, to be serviced, or things like that that we had not been able to capture all in one place before. But in addition to this, we had reporting. We had reporting, a lot of reporting that we could pull back out of the system and put to good use as well. So that was a big win for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the key things is, now that you're able to capture a lot more information and do so in a more automated fashion and a more centralized, fashion and electronic fashion, I think that opens the door, a lot of the, to business intelligence and analytics, right? Which is kind of the big
Yeah.
buzzword these days. But I'm
Yeah.
sure that, now you're perhaps able to see, different opportunities for continuous improvement or other insights that perhaps in the past you just weren't able to see, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
So what's next for Carhartt, in terms of driving continuous improvement in yard management, and how can technology help?
Well, there are a lot of exciting things happening at Carhartt. And YMS is truly just one of them. When the time is right, we would like to pursue integration of our yard management solution with our WMS and TMS system in order to really tap into more of that value that we know that we could achieve from use of this system. So that's going to be, that will be coming for us at some point.
Great, great. So it sounds like, that was a requirement, one of the things you were looking at, but as part of phase one, you want to kind of get the value, quickly, with integration being kind of a second phase type of thing.
Right. That was the strategy implemented, for our implementation. Yes.
Great. So, Andra, you're running short on time here. So just as a way to, wrap up, I mean, what words of advice or recommendations would you give to other companies that are just getting started on the journey of evaluating, selecting, and implementing a yard management solution?
Sure. Our experience with yard management implementation has been very positive. And we found that it does provide some quick wins in terms of having up-to-date information on equipment availability and the status of that equipment. So to those who are just beginning to explore yard management or building your business case for implementing a solution, I would say that implementing a standalone SaaS solution for yard management, it's such a short commitment of time to achieve those wins. But I would encourage those interested in implementing a yard management to include integration in the scope of effort so that you can fully leverage the system and maximize the benefit that you realize from it. But at the same time, I would say not to let that be what holds you back from getting started on the journey.
Great. Well, great words of advice, and congratulations on the success you've achieved to date there. And again, certainly appreciate you making the time to be on the program.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being here.
Great. Then thank you for joining us today. If you're watching this episode on demand, either on the Talking Logistics website or on the Pink website, and you've got a question or a comment for Andra, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to respond via that medium. So again, thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing a future episode focused on profiles and yard management excellence. Thank you.